Movie Groove, 7 to 9 Thursdays on Energy Groove Radio.
So what's your week been like?
Stressful,
yeah. Oh, so you've got like assignments and stuff like that. Jotham is a student here at the SAE. They don't give you a free ride here. It's not like you pay your money and then they let you just bludge. They give you work to do. And so the boys sort of like, I can smell the coffee breath from here. And he's sitting a fair distance away.
Yeah, no, I've had a few.
Yeah. So microphone smells of coffee too, but I think that's actually my fault. I'm just going to move it a little bit here. I'm having a good day. I've had a great week.
You had a nice nap before the show, didn't you?
I had a nice little nap. I just there's space to lie down here as well. There's places where you can just go off into a corner, just stretch out, and quiet, lovely. Come to the SAE. It's like a real family atmosphere here. And people see you sleeping and they go, shh, just leave me alone. Nobody shaved off an eyebrow or anything. It's not at all like when I was at uni.
You don't have any drawings on you either.
Yeah, nobody drew a cock on my forehead. That's amazing.
Yeah. This is a great place, isn't it?
Oh, it is. That's amazing. So, come to the SAE. You'll never regret it. And so, yes, the SAE are our proud sponsors here at Energy Groove Radio. And we just better get the show started because we've got a ton of stuff to get through. And what we always like to do is start each and every show with entertainment and movie news from all around the galaxy. This is a bit that we call episode 19, A News Hope. And first off, we've got news, as usual, about Transformers Age of Extinction. Yes, in the box office, it easily held on to its first place over a very slow 4th of July weekend. Patriots all over the United States stayed away from the cinema in droves, preferring instead to shoot things, shag things, and eat things, and not necessarily in that order, and often simultaneously. Melissa McCarthy's Tammy did fine business in second place, while Deliver Us from Evil and Earth to Echo flopped like a bourbon-fueled boner. That's a bad way to kick off the month of July, and all but guarantees that this is going to be one of the US's lowest-grossing summer seasons in the past decade. In fact, it's been the worst Independence Day weekend since 1999, although to be fair, that weekend's biggest earner was the Will Smith adventure comedy Wild Wild West. Dark Days. Did you see that one?
Yeah, no, I actually saw that a few weeks ago. It was on TV.
Yeah, and
I remember back when I was a kid, I used to love that movie. And now I watch it again and just think back, and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
I know, right? That'll happen to you. You shoshould never go back. It's like digging up the corpse of your grandfather and expecting the sex to be as good as it was when you were 6 years old. You can never go back.
No.
Well, is this?
Go back. Just
Now, promise you won't let me say that when we turn the microphones on.
Ow.
Transformers Age of Extinction plummeted 63% to 37.1 million. I hope the boss isn't listening. Without any serious competition, Transformers became the first movie since Captain America the Winter Soldier to hold first place on its second weekend. It's also trailing the last two Transformers movies by a wide margin, a promising sign that after 3 of these largely identical turds, Bay's audience are beginning to see a pattern form. Their doctors are even hopeful that some of them may yet learn to communicate without flinging their poo. But in brighter news, although admittedly only for Michael Bay, in just 11 days, Transformers Age of Extinction has already become the highest grossing movie ever in China. Oh yes. Through Monday, the Michael Bay-directed sequel has earned a stunning $219.2 million over there. That's slightly above Avatar, which currently still holds the all-time record for lifetime grosses. The movie's phenomenal success in China is attributed to 3 main factors. First, the franchise was already extremely popular there. Second, rapid growth in China's middle class has increased demand for movies so much that new screens are at the moment being built at the rate of around a dozen per day. No kidding. Oh, they know what they're about over there in China. They've gone like, we want lots and we want it now. It's like America in the 80s. It'll all lead to trouble, you mark my words. Through all of 2013, there were 5 movies that reached 100 million in China. 2014 matched that number by the end of June. And thirdly, of course, it appears that China has just as many drooling, vacant, popcorn-chewing bum-tards as we do here in the West. So that's nice. Other Hollywood studios are gearing up to take advantage of this expanded potential market, as evidenced by the announcement of Marvel's Captain America, made in China, Sony's Amazing Spider-Man 3 Tokyo Drift, And Star Wars Episode 8, The Revenge of Princess Leia. In other Michael Bay news, Interpol has told the UN that the increased seismic activity around the director's recently constructed missile base in the Maldives is no cause for concern. The International Police Agency say that they have dispatched a team of special field operatives to the region to ensure that plans to conquer the world are not, repeat, not underway. In other unrelated news, the bodies of a team of Interpol field operatives have been discovered washed up on the beach near the Sri Lankan coastal town of Marissa. At this stage, the cause of death is unknown, although authorities say beaten to death by giant robots has not been ruled out. More on that story as news comes to hand.
I knew it. I knew he had a...
I know, he's a bad egg. He's a bad egg, that one. We should be watching him a lot more closely. But, you've got a finger in every pie. I'm guessing that he's got his thumb in every pocket in the Senate.
Don't, the CIA's on it.
I know, they're on it. Yeah, the CIA know what they're doing. In second place, Tammy opened to 21.2 million. Now, this is a solid start for the poorly reviewed comedy, which typically needs a strong, clear premise to really break out. The fact that Tammy cleared 30 million in 5 days without an obvious hook suggests that McCarthy really is one of the biggest comedy stars at the moment. That's not a cheap shot about her weight, but I will say in my defense that as a target she's hard to miss. Sorry. Anyway, she's a well-rounded comedian. Sorry, that's... Wow, it's hard to, Anyway, I expect she's destined to be a Hollywood heavyweight. Sorry. Anyway, we should be seeing a lot more of her. Damn it! You know what, to hell with it. Melissa McCarthy is so fat.
How fat is she?
Her blood type is Nutella. Melissa McCarthy is so fat.
How fat is she?
Last time she stood up, a dead man fell out of her arse. Melissa McCarthy is so fat.
How fat?
When she goes jogging, the people of Tokyo flee.
That's my favorite one.
My apologies to Melissa McCarthy and any other fat people out there. You know that I love you. Deliver us from evil. Took third place with 9.7 million. The Based on a Bullshit Story's 15.3 million 5-day gross is less than what director Scott Derrickson's last movie, that was Sinister, earned on opening weekend in late 2012, which also did poorly because it was crap too. With no similar material in cinemas this summer, the supernatural thriller initially seemed like a strong counter-programming play. Could it be that moviegoers are getting over the whole exorcism thing? Well, how can that be when they're all completely ripping off a movie that came out in 1971? Star of the film Eric Bana recently told US TV host Chelsea Handler that footage of the exorcisms depicted in films shot by his character's real-life counterpart, NYPD police officer and self-professed demonologist Ralph Sarchie, scared the hell out of him. It certainly scares me that this guy's walking around New York City with a badge and a gun.
And a video camera.
Well, yeah. Badge and the gun is the bit that worries me. Video camera, fine.
Yeah, but if he's using them all at the same time...
Now, so we went over this last week. The guy claims to have performed 20 exorcisms. 20 church-sanctioned exorcisms, which means that he has performed but not been charged for the assault of 20 mentally ill people. And he's still walking around New York with a badge and a gun thinking that demons are real. If you went to a mental hospital and said, you know what, demons are real, they wouldn't let you go home for your pajamas. They would say, no, you need to stay here, okay? And if you know someone, we'll let them bring your pajamas for you.
I don't think he knows anyone.
Anyway, so...
Maybe his friend Louis, but that's...
So how do you know for sure if your house is haunted, Jotham? It isn't. Grow up.
That's what I was about to say.
Earth to Echo debuted in 6th place with 8.4 million. That's disappointing. It's one of the worst openings yet for a movie using the found footage motif, a launch failure on par with the Space Shuttle Challenger.
That sounds interesting.
Too soon, obviously. You remember the Space Shuttle Challenger? Took off, exploded.
Oh, yeah, actually I do.
Yeah.
And I think they actually had a bit of the footage in the third Transformer movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I remember it was on... I remember waking up that day. Oh, wait, no.
No.
That was a different one. Yep, that's correct.
Oh, no, so there was one that exploded on the way up, and then there was another one that fell to bits on the way down.
No,
There's been two shuttle disasters. One that exploded on takeoff, yeah.
Yeah, that was on February 2nd. I forget what year, but...
Yeah. It was years ago. I think I was in high school.
Yeah, because that... No.
Yeah, I was in high school, so it was in the 80s.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be born then. The one that I'm thinking of was February 2nd.
Oh, anyway, we're getting confused.
Yeah.
In any case, it was a terrible tragedy, and making jokes about it that shows incredibly poor taste. So please don't do it again, Jotham. I'm disappointed with you. Don't look at me that way.
Really?
Yeah, really.
All right.
You get the blame for everything in this studio. This is my show. Hee hee. All you have to do is write something, and you don't have to put up with this.
Coffee.
Oh, he did bring me coffee. Thank you very much. Anyway, Earth to Echo, the film has been given an A- rating on CinemaScore. The movie could hold decently next weekend, although well positioned to take the family audience in the following week is Planes. Fire and Rescue, Disney's follow-up to Planes, which, as I know from personal experience, is one of the worst things that a parent can endure, outside of realising at the point of release that the teen hottie they've been spanking it to is an immediate relative.
I didn't even know they were making a second one.
Again with Dane Cook, who's do you know who Dane Cook is?
No.
Like he's not funny for a start, and yet he is the highest paid comedian in the world. You know, if you just look at YouTube videos of him, it makes no sense. But anyway, there you go. People like what they like. He's the voice of the main character. So Planes was a movie that performed the impossible task of making me hate Dane Cook even more. Anyway, Snowpiercer. My little favourite. It's the little engine that could, and it's grossed just over 1 million from its expanded release from 8 to 250 locations in the US, coming in at just $4,032 per theatre. That might not sound like much, but it's a better per theatre average than both Earth to Echo and Deliver Us from Evil in their respective opening weekends. And the film is also set for a VOD release this upcoming Friday. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's a review that we played on last week's show. You could listen to it. But, a quick recommendation. Yep, it's good and you should get it. And that is it for A News Hope. And remember, when it comes to movie news, this source will be with you always. Did you see Snowpiercer yet?
No, not yet.
Why did you not see it? What?
Because
I recommended it.
Yeah, I know
that
you
means you
recommended it, but I'm a student. I don't have money.
Ah, right. You see, I'm an adult, and I do.
Technically, I'm an adult too. I just don't have money.
Right. So what I meant to say is I'm an old person.
You said it. Your words.
It's terrible. It's like you look in the mirror every morning and you go like, yep, it's never going to get better than this. Getting old sucks, but it beats the alternative. Now this.
Movie Groove presents Things That Will Never Happen.
And Hollywood is abuzz with the news that A-list star Tom Cruise has finally announced that he is coming out as gay.
Join us next time for more Things That Will Never Happen.
I don't know where that came from.
I thought it was about to say Tom Cruise has become Catholic.
Oh, that would be even worse. Yeah, no, he's Scientology, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to get sued. Scientologists, if you're listening, you are a pack of frauds. Microphone's turned on. Damn it to hell.
I'm exotic.
He is exotic, ladies. You should see what I'm seeing. Oof. This man has got a body that would make an oven-ready chicken wet. Too much information, perhaps. Anyway.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. I don't know if I should, but I'm just going to take it as a compliment.
This week on the show, we're doing a news segment that sets the celebrities apart so that we might get to know them just a little better. And thusly identify
The good, the bad, and the f***ing stupid.
Yes, and in this week, the good, the bad, and the gosh darn stupid. The Daily Mail Australia reports that Keira Knightley recently stepped away from her glamorous movie star lifestyle to travel to war-torn South Sudan on a humanitarian mission. The British actress visited Boer camp with Oxfam and met with families who have been affected by the recent devastating conflict. People so impoverished and underfed that many of them were even thinner than she was. Knightley, who's 29 now, met with many women who are struggling to survive after losing their husbands and children, either in conflict or as they settled into the poor living conditions at the camp. The countless individuals who have sought refuge at the Boer camp are facing new problems such as malaria, waterborne diseases, sexual attacks and malnutrition. They struggle through life without clean water. It's a bit like living in Adelaide, really. Hello to all our Adelaide listeners. Don't drink the water. You're probably used to it by now.
You just get like immunity to it.
Yeah, you
Same thing when you go to India.
fill the glass, pull all the creatures out of it, and then drink. The star, who in the past has spoken out on behalf of a number of charitable causes, because she's nice that way, also met with a local widow called Rebecca Carquasney. Carquasney? That's a lovely name. Who was reunited at the camp with her children after losing them in an ambush. I know how that feels. I once lost a frisbee in a thorn bush. So, there's a connection there.
No, I lost a football. Yeah, we never found her.
Anyway, she was reunited with her children. Is the happy ending to that story. So that was cool. Still, they've got nothing to eat, so... Kira found the experience heart-wrenching, telling the Telegraph on her return, "I'd never experienced the incredible, palpable atmosphere of terror, or smelled the breathtaking stench of sewage from tens of thousands of people crammed together, with nowhere to go and nothing to do but wait." That's just what Joni Mitchell said about being at Woodstock. Seriously, watch the movie. As Kira's star power didn't extend to that region of Africa, the actress admits that she had to think about how she would explain her plans to help. She said, "When those refugees asked me, 'Who are you?' I really, really wished I could have said, 'I'm a doctor,' or something else useful. So instead I told them, 'I am someone who is going to ask people to give you lots of money to Oxfam so that they can help you.' To which they replied, 'Oh, so you're an actor. Want to buy a kid?'"
My question is, did she actually think about buying a kid?
I don't know. It doesn't say here. But this is a serious issue, to be honest. Since 1956 independence, the Sudan has been torn by 3 civil wars. The latest over the disputed, wait for it, oil-rich region of Abyei. I think that's it, Abyei. Anyway, it's about oil, again. Third civil war in 60 or so years. It's got to be getting old. There are now over 1 million people in desperate need for food and water. Oxfam are trying their hardest to provide for those most in need, but they need more help. So why don't you log on to www.oxfam.org.au and give charitably. You can help out people who have to drink the same water that they're shitting into, which can't be nice. So there's a worthy cause. I'm going to stick a link up on the website in case you're interested in doing that. And next, we've got the bad. Convicted drug dealer and scumbag Franklin Meyer has released a video of a wild-eyed and emotionally strung-out Angelina Jolie showing the Oscar winner right after she has allegedly bought drugs, which, as she was into heroin, is a good deal more interesting than footage that would have been taken after she has allegedly taken drugs. Heroin looks like a fun drug to me. Just... oh yeah, can't get enough of that. A wee nap? Yeah, okay. Just have a nap. Just have a nap. It's the same anyway. Young people today. Shot in the late 90s, the footage shows Jolie speaking frantically on the telephone as she paces back and forth anxiously across the room. It is not clear who the actress is talking to, but the conversation seems to be a bunch of inconsequential babble about money or family or something. Nothing really interesting, really. So, in this instance, the gutter press are focusing on how terrible she looks. Meyer released the video to the National Enquirer, claiming that he shot the footage with Jolie's permission after supplying her with heroin and cocaine in her New York home. "I think that's what she said," admitted Meyer. "She did keep calling me Mr. Fincher." The video, posted on Radar Online, shows a painfully thin Jolie picking at her sore-covered skin, or as casting agents call it, red carpet ready. What? Don't look at me like that.
It was a good joke.
But, yeah, but you keep giving me that open-mouth horror look. I mean, they're not that bad.
They're not that bad, but
They're on-air bad. All right, you should hear the stuff that I'm saying off-air. Wow.
we would be...
I know. I just want to make a bit of a shout-out to the boss, Freddy the Turk. Freddy the Turk, people are sick when near him, Freddy the Turk. Only the evil fear him, softness in his eyes, iron in his thighs, virtue in his heart, and fire in every part of the mighty Freddy the Turk.
You should make that a card.
I just love to do it live. Besides, I don't know any musicians.
Oh, yeah, true.
So none that have got any time to help me anyway. Jolie has spoken previously about her battles during the 1990s, describing the time as a dark and dangerous period. She was married to Billy Bob Thornton, so it's a miracle she survived, really. Jolie, who won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for her role in the film Girl, Interrupted, is now one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Winona Ryder, who played the lead in that film, was not nominated for an Oscar, but was most recently seen as a walk-on character in the 2009 Star Trek reboot, who dies within a minute of appearing on screen. So hasn't she done well? Yeah.
She's
No,
great.
we got to give one of these. Like, there you go. That's some very generous applause. But well done, Winona. Jolie is a dedicated humanitarian and United Nations Special Envoy for the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. So she's not doing too badly these days. And she's engaged to actor Brad Pitt. I would take it.
How long have they been engaged for?
I don't know. Who cares? It's been a while. They seem to be getting on well, which is unusual for a couple in Hollywood. They have 6 children at last count. The whereabouts of the biological parents of those children remain a mystery. And of course, we have the gosh darn stupid. Oh boy, Gary Oldman needs a babysitter. I know. Did you read this story?
No, I just saw that and couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, it's quite strange because I've never actually heard Gary Oldman speak out before, but he has now spoken out, and as I said at the top of the show, we're all wishing that he hadn't. It seems like an inordinately bad idea to have done so.
Is it that bad?
It really is that bad. In fact, we've got so much to get through on that score that I think we'll come back and talk about Gary Oldman after that. Welcome back to Movie Groove. It's what's on screen. We're transmitting live around the world from the beautiful city of Sydney. My name is Alister Lockhart, and sitting in the chair with me is the incredible Jotham Doraraj.
So,
You don't need to wave like that. It doesn't work on radio.
I don't care. I'm still going to do it.
Yeah, okay. Oh, fair enough.
It helps me.
I'm glad you're here tonight.
Glad to be here.
Gavalanche is not here tonight. Gavalanche is on assignment. He was called away to the Cayman Islands very suddenly this evening. I believe it was a family matter. Now, knowing Gav, it's not actual family. It's just one of his just massive circle of intensely wealthy friends. So he'll be somewhere tonight eating much nicer food than any of us have ever tasted. I hope you're having fun, Gav.
I'll stick to my macros.
And everything's okay. Anyway, welcome back. We are doing a segment of the show that we call
The good, the bad, and the f***ing stupid.
Yes, we've done the good and the bad, and now we're on the gosh darn stupid. Gary Oldman, as I said, needs a babysitter or at least someone to stay close and tell him when he should shut the hell up. In an interview with Playboy in this last week, the British actor defended fellow actor Mel Gibson's infamous anti-Semitic rant of 2006. Hollywood should get over it, because everyone has said similar things in their private moments, Oldman said. Now that is true, Joss. That is true. Many's a night when I've bellowed, "Are you Jewish?" at Sandra. And when she replies, "Well, no, of course you know that I'm not," I will then go on to explain, having studied global geopolitical history in some depth, that the Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world. That's including the aforementioned civil war in the Sudan. All the Jews' fault. Every evening this happens at my house. In a wide-ranging interview, the Oscar-nominated star of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy cited political correctness, there's that old bugbear again, when asked to comment on Gibson's predicament, and said people should take a king joke. Again, no one can really argue, I think, Joth, that Mel's comments aren't just champagne comedy. I get big laughs every time I spew anti-Semitic invective. Seriously, your whole ethnicity is directly blamed for the most powerful religious organization in the world for the death of their prophet, and nearly wiped out in one of history's worst atrocities. Where's your sense of humor, Jews? Come on.
Get with it, seriously.
Yeah, come on. Big laughs over at our house. Dear, oh dear. Anyway, added Oldman, and of course he did. I don't know about Mel. He got drunk and said a few things, but we've all said those things.
I've been drunk, but I don't think I've said those things.
We're all king hypocrites, he said. That's what I think about it. The policeman who arrested him has never used the word, and I'm sorry, listeners, but he drops the N-bomb here. I'm not going to do it. But yeah, or that effing Jew. I'm being brutally honest here. Now, I would say he's being suicidally honest there. But anyway.
That's a good way to put it.
It's the hypocrisy of it that drives me crazy, said the guy decrying hypocrisy after he just claimed to be a hypocrite. Yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble with this. I mean, the guy actually sat in a room and allowed these comments to be recorded. You twat. After defending Alec Baldwin for, and I quote, calling someone an FAG in the street. Oh, well, now we're getting coy with the language. A second ago he dropped the N-bomb, pretty as you please, and a hard J. Now he's going with FAG. You might as well go the whole hog, mate. Just come right out and say fag, now that you've gotten there already. So he's calling someone an FAG in the street while he's pissed off, coming out of his building because they won't leave him alone. Oldman continued to lament Gibson's predicament. Mel Gibson is in a town that's run by Jews, and he said the wrong thing because he's actually bitten the hand that I guess has fed him, said the British actor, apparently blissfully unaware of the long, ropey coils of irony that he was pulling ever tighter around his own neck. I know. I wish you could see the look on the face that I'm looking at here, Blisters. It's
We'll take a photo and put it up on the page.
Oh, for God's sake. Yeah, no, where's... Here's my camera. We're going to get a shot of that face. There we go. Got it. Okay, so that'll be up on the website later on. He's like an outcast. A leper, But some Jewish guy in his office somewhere hasn't turned and said that effing kraut or F those Germans or whatever. We all hide and try to be so politically correct. That's what gets me. It's just the sheer hypocrisy of everyone. That we all stand on this thing going, isn't that shocking? On hearing a transcript of the interview, Oldman's agent is reported to have face-palmed so hard he now has to pull down his pants to shake hands.
I could see that happening.
Yeah, Gibson's rant came after he was arrested for suspected drink driving in Malibu 8 years ago. Gibson later apologized, claiming the comments were made in a, quote, moment of insanity. Now, just so we're all very clear on Mel's take on sanity, here he is in some infamous conversation with former model Oksana Grigorieva, a 20-something girl of about 55 kilos and the mother of his child, with whom he is at the time of this call separated from, having blasted her in the mouth after a lover's tiff they had involving a jacuzzi. Bit of a language warning on this one, kids. Here we go.
I just waited for you. I waited and waited till I fell asleep, and then...
Waited like 2.5 fucking minutes. You're fucking snoring. Don't you dare wait. You're blaming me right now. Now I'm blaming you. You went to sleep.
I don't blame you.
I deserve to be blown first before the fucking jacuzzi. I'll burn the goddamn house down. But blow me first. How dare you? How fucking dare you? You wanted the number of my therapist? Don't you ever speak to him. Find your own goddamn therapist. Because you have problems more than me.
You need medication.
And you gotta fucking push my buttons. And it is not going to work with us. It's not. I can't get like this anymore. And you know you're doing it. And you're a liar. And you're dishonest. And you're fucked up.
Yeah, you can't have marriage without rage. That's a small clip of a 10-minute call. There's 8 of these calls that she recorded over about 3 nights. So all in all is about 45 minutes of Mel's deranged, booze-sodden bellowing to get through if you're interested. Here's a couple more choice quotes from those tapes. I will report her to the effing people that take effing money from the wetbacks. Nice. And you look like an effing pig in heat. And if you get raped by a pack of, again, I'm sorry about this, listeners, N-words, it will all be your fault. So that's Mel Gibson there being very clear on the duties of a wife and mother. It's not her fault, really. She was at the time caring for a badly retarded and brain-damaged child. And his daughter. So there's Mel obviously enjoying 8 consecutive 10-minute moments of insanity there, as well as having blasted her in the mouth twice, which he was recently acquitted for.
Oh, really?
Yes. He said he struck her with an open palm to bring her back to reality. Again, listen to the tapes for Mel's take on reality, as it were. Back to Gary Oldman, who stars in the forthcoming science fiction sequel Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, or Dot Potter as we're calling it, who eventually appeared to realise that his comments might just go further than Playboy's readership. So this interview has gone very badly, he said, noting that he was defending, quote, all the wrong people. Added Oldman, quote, you have to edit and cut half of what I've said, because it's going to make me sound like a bigot. In other news, Israeli academics have announced that the ancient language of Hebrew is to be amended to include the word oldman, to be used as a synonym for the phrase, duh! Not content with the growing series of blazing bridges at his back, the once Oscar-nominated actor took a bitter swipe at the way members of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences vote, and he also called the Golden Globes a meaningless event. Despite a string of acclaimed roles, Oldsman was nominated for a Best Actor in 2011 for Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, but lost out to the artist Jean Dujardin. At the Oscars, he said, if you didn't vote for 12 Years a Slave, you were a racist. There he is further narrowing his own support base down to three gingers, the Academy's one remaining plantation owner, and of course Mel Gibson. You have to be very careful about what you say. Do you? I do have particular views and opinions that most of this town doesn't share, but it's not like I'm a fascist or a racist. There's nothing like that in my history. Well, their king is now! The London-born star, who now lives in Los Angeles with his fourth wife, Alexandra Edinburgh, insisted he was a libertarian in his political views and added, "You don't come out and talk about these things for obvious reasons." For one thing, you keep losing wives. And he claimed his independent nature and his refusal to work on the political side of fame had cost him the movie world's most prestigious prize. He went on to say, "What people don't realize is that you need to work at being a celebrity. I'm not talking about movies, I mean the other side of it." "Oh, you mean the side of it where you have to give interviews?" his agent is reported to have yelled as surgeons battled to remove his palm from his lower digestive tract. "You have to campaign," he went on. "It's a whole other part of your career, and I wish I could have navigated it a bit better." Well, what a timely insight for Gary.
I really want to slap him.
Something he may have considered at the beginning of that, so how's it going, Gary? Like, no comment. No, you came in for this interview. No, sorry, I've had a think about it, and I've decided not to say anything. That would have been better. Oldman is currently seeking a new agent. That might be true, I don't know, I just made that up. When we contacted actor Mel Gibson for his reaction to the furor, Mel told Movie Groove that Oldman's Playboy interview was just a Jewish myth and that it never actually happened.
Is he the one that threw the telephone? He probably threw a telephone.
No, that was Russell Crowe.
Oh.
Anyway, that is all from the good, the bad, and the gosh darn stupid. I leave you with these words from the late great Eli Wallach.
When you have to shoot, don't talk.
Movie Groove presents Things That Will Never Happen.
The 3D re-release of the Disney classic Song of the South.
Join us next time for more Things That Will Never Happen.
Next on the show, well, we've got a segment where we like to have a look at what's opening in theatres in Australia and all around the world. This is a bit that we call Opening Scene. And this week on the scene, of course, if you're a cinephile, then you'll know that Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is opening just today all around the world, and it's already enjoying a Metacritic score of 89%. That's high for that website. Dotpotta, that's the acronym for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
What an acronym for it.
Yeah, I know, Dotpotta opens this weekend against almost nothing else to speak of, really. A growing nation of genetically evolved apes, led by Caesar, is threatened by a band of human survivors of the devastating virus unleashed a decade earlier. They reach a fragile peace, but it proves short-lived as both sides are brought to the brink of a war that will determine who will emerge as Earth's dominant species. And for the fans out there, here's a clip.
Family. We don't mean any harm!
I know why you're scared. It took us 4 years fighting that virus, but we are survivors!
It was a virus created by scientists in a lab. You can't blame the apes.
Who the hell else am I gonna blame? We need to give him a chance. Welcome, animals.
No, don't shoot! Apes! Together, strong!
Yeah, so that's Dot Potter, starring Gary Oldman, who we were just discussing. Apparently he wasn't acting in the film. They just told him that they were talking about black people and then overdubbed his lines after. That's not true at all.
Seems legit.
So yeah, Gary Oldman there. The movie looks set to dominate the weekend. Despite controversy over the film's content, some people are complaining that the concept behind the whole franchise is inherently racist. I'm afraid so. Because the formerly enslaved, aggressive, xenophobic apes represent black people? And the danger of their education leading to dominion over the predominantly white human characters. The counterclaim to this is that the presumption that the formerly enslaved, aggressive, xenophobic apes represent black people is inherently racist. So those charging the filmmakers of racism are themselves being charged with racism. The counterclaim then is that those accusing the filmmakers of racism being counter-accused of racism is, depending on the race of the accusers and the counter-accusers, respectively, also deemed as possibly inherently racist. At this point in the conversation, both camps tend to get a bit confused, really, and start calling each other names until somebody lobs the N-bomb, and then the thread gets shut down. Enjoy the film.
I will.
George Carlin once said, he said, just think about how stupid the average person is, and then realize that half of them are stupider than that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Still makes me feel a lot better about myself.
Boyhood. There it is. It was written and directed by Richard Linklater, who gave us Waking Life and Before Sunrise and a whole bunch of other things. School of Rock, Dazed and Confused. So it's like he's a very experimental filmmaker, but so he can do your commercial crapola like School of Rock, but some of the experimental stuff is really interesting. Waking Life, for example, is brilliant. Doesn't make a lick of sense, but it's beautiful to look at.
Is that going to be my homework?
Waking Life? Yeah, sure.
Okay.
This week for his homework, Jotham Doraraj has been given the assignment of watching Waking Life. Enjoy. Yeah, so what he's done is that they've taken live action footage and then they've gotten a whole series of different animators to work directly over the top of the footage to produce all this really wacky, crazy, trippy. So, if you're so inclined...
I'll do that.
Talk a few and then get into it. Kids don't do drugs. So it's directed by Richard Linklater. It stars Patricia Arquette, Eller Coltrane, and Ethan Hawke. The film tells the story of a divorced couple, Mason and Olivia, raising their young son, Mason Jr. The story follows the boy for 12 years, from the first grade at age 6 through 12th grade at age 18, and examines his relationship with his parents as he grows. And here's a clip.
Talk to me. Samantha, how was your week? I don't know, Dad, it was kind of tough. Remember that sculpture I was working on? Well, it was a unicorn, and the horn broke off, so now it's a zebra, okay? But I still think I'm gonna get an A, right? Mason, how was your week? Well, Dad, it was kind of tough. Joe, he's kind of a jerk. Actually, he stole some cigarettes from his mom. He wanted me to smoke them, but I said no, because I knew what a hard time you had quitting smoking, Dad. How about that? Is that so hard?
Dad, these questions are kind of hard to answer.
What is so hard to answer? About what sculpture are you making?
It's abstract.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you were even interested in abstract art.
I'm not. They make us do it.
So that's Ethan Hawke there, with two young actors, one of whom obviously hasn't had any training. You could just hear it, can't you?
The one that's just keeping quiet in the corner?
No. I mean the female voice there is the young girl is obviously a wee bit stilted in her delivery, didn't you think?
I thought that was just a 12-year-old boy.
No, that was an older, I think, 13-year-old girl. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What appears to be a by-the-numbers family heartwarmer is already being hailed as a one-of-a-kind, unprecedented masterpiece, because Linklater, ever the clever one, cast the film 12 years ago and shot intermittently between the summer of 2002 and October 2013, so it was a long game, this one. The film has already squired a bunch of awards and has a pre-release average Metacritic score of 96%, so that apparently makes it the best film of the year so far, according to the critics. Although some critics are saying that the middle of the film seems a little patchy, possibly due to the lead disappearing from the set every 5 minutes to polish his china. I don't know. I was 14 once. I was like a spider monkey. I think it was like
remember being 14.
It was like once an hour. Ah, dearie me. Again, far too much information. I'm really glad that this show is so unpopular that even my mother doesn't listen.
I'm actually really glad my mom's not listening.
Yeah, so Mrs. Doraraj, you should see the horrible things he's been doing. It's awful. He raised his boy in a barn. Tell you what. Anyway,
it's Liverpool, so...
Liverpool, right, well
Probably,
that explains an awful lot. Hello to Liverpool today. A long way down. This is a British film wherein a man called Martin Sharp, played by dishy Irishman and former Bond Pierce Brosnan, is contemplating suicide on New Year's Eve on the roof of a tall building in London. He is interrupted by Maureen, played by Aussie Toni Collette, who is also planning to jump. She shyly offers to wait her turn until two other coincidentally suicidal strangers show up. A young woman named Jess, played by Imogen Poots, a name that sounds like an app for taking photographs of farts. And because it's a British film, the American character is a pizza delivery guy called JJ, played by Breaking Bad's Aaron Paul. Martin is a formerly popular television personality before going to prison for boning a girl who turned out to be 15. Maureen has a disabled son whom she adores but has little life beyond that. Jess is a daughter of a politician who hates her father Sam Neill. And JJ is a musician with terminal cancer. Did I mention that this is a comedy?
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, here's a clip.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Hi. I'm not entirely sure how to phrase this, but, are you going to be long?
What?
I wasn't sure whether to wait my turn or I hadn't considered the wire. I'd really like to borrow your ladder. Maybe I should just wait. I'll wait.
You're just going to stand there and watch?
No, of course. You'll be wanting to do it on your own, I'd imagine. I'll go there.
Right. I'll give you a shout on the way down.
So tons of laughter to be had in that one. It's based on the 2005 novel by Nick Hornby, whose previous novels were the basis of movies Fever Pitch. That's twice. There was a British TV movie and then one that they made in the States that was about baseball. High Fidelity, which was quite good, that had John Cusack in it, and About a Boy, which had Hugh Grant, not being very Hugh Grantish.
And that other kid that's like really famous now.
Nicholas Hoult, he was in the X-Men. He plays Beast in the X-Men now.
See, I don't know him for that. I know him for being the douchebag in Skins.
Yeah, so he played the douchebag in Skins, if you saw that TV show. So, but it has Hugh Grant, but he's playing an arsehole. Which is because he's always playing like that foppish nice guy. Bugger, bugger. I wonder, spit it out, man.
He would be great for radio.
Anyway, I hope that you people are out there are suitably entertained. This is all free. You're only paying for your bandwidth here. So, yes, he wrote all those novels, so I guess the characters in the show are going to learn a thing or two about life along the way. If you've been contemplating suicide, why not call the Suicide Prevention Hotline on 1800 something. Actually, I don't have that number here. You can look it up. It's not that hard. What?
Just give it the damn number.
I don't have the number.
We'll get the number.
Look, if you can't find the Suicide Prevention Hotline, what use are you, really? Oh, that was the wrong thing to say, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm just going to say that's everything on the screen and in the scene for this week. And so until next week, remember this. It is always, and I do mean always, darkest before the opening scene. And now we're moving on to the bit where I like to remind the listeners that my favourite bit of the Oscars is the In Memoriam segment, but I don't want to have to wait until March when I can enjoy death every week. In a bit that I like to call Dead for Reals.
Behind the clouds, the sun is shining. There's a big blue sky waiting right behind the clouds.
Well, you're dead now, so shut up.
Yes, and this is the catch-up edition of Dead for Reals. There's been some interesting dead people over the last couple of weeks, but some not lesser interesting dead people, but certainly important dead people that have slipped under the radar in the last couple of weeks. Of course, there was Casey Kasem a little while ago. We all know who he was. He was the voice of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo and Mark from Battle of the Planets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that guy. And the voice of Robin from the Batman animated series from the 70s. And he was in Ghostbusters. The boys in grey slugged it out with a pretty pesky poltergeist and then danced the night away with the lovely ladies of the Cabana Club. This is Casey Kasem.
Oh.
That guy, yeah. So he died recently at 84. He was like the Coca-Cola Top 100 guy in the States. Oh no, All-American Top 100 something thing. Anyway, he started that whole thing. We also have Meshach Taylor? I'm sorry, Mr. Taylor, I don't know how to pronounce your first name, but you don't care because you're dead. What do you make of that? Meshach, I think. It sounds like a Hebrew name? Yeah, Meshach.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds definitely like
If you know how to pronounce that name, ring us up and tell us. I don't know the phone number. Known best for his role on the hit sitcom Designing Women from 1986, the genial African-American Meshach Taylor made a name for himself as the beleaguered male foil consistently at the mercy of the ladies of that show, their hilarious antics during its 7-season run. The Boston-born actor got his start in radio as a state house political correspondent and in theatre, and after relocating to LA in 1978, he found minor work in a few of the popular horror films of the day. He was in Damien, The Omen 2 from 1978. That's a scary one.
Actually, I think that's the only one that I've watched.
Yeah. Is that the one where Leo McCarran gets buried alive at the beginning? It's not a spoiler alert. It happens at the beginning. Leo McCarran dies first frame. Yeah. So there's The Howling from 1981. Special effects by the unbelievable Rob Bottin, and The Beast Within 1982, which frankly I've never heard of. Started to make typical rounds on popular TV shows, including Barney Miller, Lou Grant, and of course everybody had a role on MASH at some point. The show went 7 years longer than the actual war. Eventually he nabbed the Emmy-nominated role of Anthony Bouvier, the jailbird turned assistant to Delta Burke, Annie Potts from Ghostbusters, Gene Smart, and Dixie Carter. His film and TV load has been fairly lightweight overall, with routine turns. Children of the 80s, however, may remember him from the then affectionate and sympathetic, but now stereotypical and quite offensive, role of Hollywood Montrose, the gay comic foil to Andrew McCarthy's Dreamer and a Crap Job in the 1987 inexplicably hit comedy Mannequin. And in case you'd mercifully forgotten about that horrible turd, here's a clip.
Ow! Well, roll over Bill Shakespeare. That is the sweetest sentiment these ears have ever heard.
No. I was rehearsing a play.
I always find it best not to explain. It adds a certain mystique to one's reputation.
No. I'm a regular kind of guy, okay?
Don't disappoint me. When you're finished with your conversation, please bring her to window number 3.
Sure, you got it. I'm Jonathan Switcher.
Hollywood Montrose. Doesn't it just sing? We're going to have fun. I am so glad you're working here.
You are?
Why, of course I am, honey. I never thought they'd hire anyone stranger than me.
Yeah. So that was Mannequin, which starred G.W. Bailey, Kim Cattrall, who you'll know from Sex and the City, as the titular mannequin, Andrew McCarthy, who was massive in the day, but you've probably never heard of him because you just never see him. He was that guy in Pretty in Pink. Ever see Pretty in Pink? No? He was the biggest actor of the day, and then all of a sudden he just wasn't. I saw an interview of him recently where he just said, I got sick of it. It happened. Yeah. Anyway, back to Meshach. One of his brighter moments literally was playing the role of Lumiere. That's the candle in Broadway's Beauty and the Beast. He's left behind 3 daughters, Tamar, Yasmin, Esme, and a son, Tariq. And at the age of 67, after a long battle with cancer, to quote Hollywood Montrose, he's a dream that once was. And next, in Dead for Reals, we have Bobby Womack, otherwise known as The Preacher. Died a few weeks ago as well. A native of Cleveland, Ohio, Bobby Womack was born into a musical family, much like Michael Jackson. Managed by their father, he and his brothers formed the Womack Brothers, a gospel singing group that toured with several national gospel stars. The Womack Brothers caught the attention of the legendary Sam Cooke, who signed Bobby and his brothers to his label. In 1962, they were renamed the Valentinos and had their first R&B hit single, Lookin' for a Love. He continued to record with his brothers throughout the 1960s and played guitar with Sam Cooke's band until Cooke was unfortunately shot dead by a hotel manager. The death was ruled justifiable homicide by the court due to Cooke being black and disorderly. Sorry, drunk and disorderly. It was America in the 60s. If he'd survived, they would have charged him with trying to steal a bullet. Willfully tried to run away with the defendant's bullet, lodged in his gut, Your Honour. Womack went on to enjoy considerable success as a composer and arranger for R&B pop artists such as Wilson Pickett, Joe Tex, and Dusty Springfield. He would eventually record a string of hits of his own from 71 to 76, such as That's the Way I Feel About Ya, Woman's Gotta Have It, and a newly arranged version of Looking for a Love. His career slumped during the disco era because, his music was too good. But he returned triumphant in the early 1980s with his album The Poet, on which he delivered what has become his signature piece, If You Think You're Lonely Now. His 1972 composition and recording of the song Across 110th Street, which was originally recorded for the movie of the same name, resurfaced as the theme for Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown from 1997. Ironically, the film's star, Pam Grier, had been a backup singer for Womack when she was a co-ed at UCLA. So, considered by critics and fans alike to be one of the last great soul men, Womack died at home at the age of 70 of as yet unknown causes. May God rest his soul, man. See what I did there? Yeah. And lastly, of course, we have Terry Richards again from a couple of weeks ago. He died on the 14th of June. Terry Richards was a British actor and stuntman, best known for his appearance as, and you all know this one, the Arabian Swordsman in the 1981 Indiana Jones film Raiders of the Lost Ark. During his career, Richards worked on over 100 productions across film and television, worked in 9 James Bond films, fought as a stuntman in scenes with Indiana Jones, James Bond, Luke Skywalker, and Rambo. And also doubled for Donald Sutherland, Tom Selleck, and Christopher Lee. What a man. He fought Indiana Jones, Bond, Luke Skywalker, and Rambo. No other man can say that.
Yeah, no. I wish I could say that.
Amazing. Born in London to Welsh parents, he served in the Welsh Guards, and then while he was working as a scaffolder, a buddy told him that a local production needed extras with military training. He was asked if he'd be willing to fall from his scaffolding. He said yes, and his career as a stuntman began. In 1958, he served as a fighting extra alongside Kirk Douglas in The Vikings, and in 1960 he was a co-founder of the Stunt Register, a UK industry list of accredited stunt performers. Richard's most famous scene, however, was the large Arabian swordsman in the 1981 Indiana Jones film Raiders of the Lost Ark. Director Steven Spielberg shot the production's Egypt-located fight scenes in the town of Kairouan in Tunisia, which, incidentally, is known by the locals as Little Cairo. So it was quite an interesting production. They had to ask everybody to take all the television antennas, like everybody in the city. For that shot where they're looking over the entire city, and Salah goes, Cairo, city of the living. They had to ask everybody who was going to be in the shot to take their television aerials down, and they did. Awesome people in Tunisia there.
Great guys.
Richards practiced for weeks with his heavy Arabian sword to create the scripted fight scene, choreographing a fight between the swordsman and Jones's whip. However, during the shoot, Ford was suffering from dysentery, and if you've ever had dysentery, it's hellish. So he and Spielberg agreed to cut the scene down to a coup de grace with a single shot. We all know that scene. Harrison wasn't the only guy on set who had the shits. At the time, Richard was really pissed off, but the scene was later voted in at number 5 on Playboy magazine's list of best all-time scenes, and the character is the only non-speaking role from the series to be made into an action figure. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Terry Richards is 81, and we miss him already. That's the final bow. It's curtains once again on Dead for Reals. We'll see you on the other side. And to take us out, if you've just tuned in, it's the end of the show. We're actually 7 past the hour. As per usual, I've gone over. Apologies to my boss, Friday the Turk. Only the evil fear him. And this is the end of the show. My name has been Alister Lockhart, and probably will be again next week. And the guy in the other chair, his name is Jotham Doraraj. Remember the name, Jotham Doraraj.
I might change it next week. I haven't decided yet.
You're like Steve Bennett.
No, that's boring.
Oh, okay, suit yourself. I've had a good time. What about you?
I've had a great time.
All right, well, join us next week at the same time, and we're going to have more movie stuff, and we might even have a little more of this.
Movie Groove presents Things That Will Never Happen.
And the Oscar for Best Actor goes to Leonardo DiCaprio.
Join us next time for more Things That Will Never Happen.
Enjoy your lives.
Hey there, podcasters. Thanks for choosing Movie Groove. If you're a regular listener, or even if you're a version of Groover, why not take a moment to like, subscribe, or even leave an encouraging comment. Every week, Movie Groove brings you news, reviews, and cheap shots at Michael Bay. All for a low, low price, or nothing per download. So enjoy the show. Like, subscribe, and comment. It's a little shout that shows a little love.
Very good, Robbie.
I couldn't hear it.
Movie Groove, 7 to 9 Thursdays on Energy Groove Radio.